I just think the Premiership needs to be careful it doesn't get itself into an endless legal wrangle with, lots and lots of clubs, because at the end of the day, the Premiership is probably the most successful sporting league in the world, certainly the most successful football league in the world. And we have this expression up north in England, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And, you have to be careful if you start interfering too much, bringing too much regulation in. And then you finish up with the Manchester City issue, you finish up with the Everton issue, you finish up with the Nottingham Forest issue, and on and on and on. And if you're not careful, the Premiership is going to finish up spending more time in court than it is thinking about what's good for the league. And, we've got the best league in the world. Don't ruin that league, for heaven's sake. And then there was all this conversation about anchoring, and, what would anchoring do? Anchoring that would inhibit the top clubs in the Premiership. And the last thing you want in the Premiership is for the top clubs in the Premiership not to be able to compete with the Real Madrids, Barcelona, Bayern Munich, PSGs. I mean, that's absurd. And if it does, then it ceases to be the finest league in the world. So people have to be... And then we've got the government regulator. We're now talking about a government regulator coming in. And they, if you've got a government regulator, at the end of the day, they'll interfere. And that won't be good. So... I have a few concerns about the Premiership in that, when Richard Scudamore ran it, it was a really fine league. It was very successful, and over that, I don't know how old the Premiership is now, 15 years, it became extremely successful. And then everybody starts interfering and messing about. And that's, my view, is not good.
So do you worry about the people in charge? Is it a personality concern about?
No. It's not about. I don't know how they drift. I've only been in football for 6 months. So
well, you've been following it for a long time.
No, that's true. No. I know Alison. She's a very sensible lady and what have you. But no, I think that drift into complexity that's unnecessary. I think people just need to stand back and think about whether that's good. They should remember what the Premiership's about. It's the best league in the world, and that's the focus, is keep it the best. And it's got the most income in the world. So, for the UK, we get the best players coming to the UK, we get the best coaches coming to the UK, we get the best football in the UK. It's very different to French football. We obviously own Nice down here. Premiership, everybody in the world follows the Premiership. Everybody in the world knows who the middle clubs are in the Premiership. Everybody knows a bit about Fulham and Everton, and not just the top six. But in France, that's not the case. In Italy, it's not the case. People don't know about the small clubs, or the medium-sized clubs in France. So the Premiership is a real jewel. Leave them mess about too much.
What will you do with Nice?
Well, I think. Of all things that happened, we weren't anticipating that we would both finish up in the Europa Cup, because up until Christmas, Nice was a very close second in the league to PSG, so we were anticipating they would be in the European Cup. And of course, United, up until the last game, were not in any of the European leagues. So for them both to finish up in the same league was quite... it was fantastic news, obviously, for Manchester United winning the FA Cup. But
do you understand the rules, or have you spoken to UEFA about what happens if you're
It just means you have to put Nice into a trust, basically, for a year. So it's hands off for a year, basically. I get some of it. I think the public perception of a common owner owning two different clubs in the same competition, they want to feel comfortable that there's no interference of any. Why would you ever interfere? I don't know, But some of it is a bit too... So we've got a player, for instance, I won't mention his name, we've got a player in Nice who was really interested in joining Manchester United, and I think he probably has the capability of being in the Manchester United squad. And, they've said we can send him to another Premiership club, but we can't send him to Manchester United. But that's not fair on the player, really. And I don't see what that achieves. So there are some sort of rules like that, which the UEFA things,
Would you ever sell Nice?
Sorry?
Would you sell Nice?
It's not our intention to sell Nice, because I quite like the concept of the multi-club. And I think Nice would be very complementary to Manchester United for two reasons, really. One, you can blood younger players in Nice than you can in Manchester United, because Manchester United sits at a higher level, so it's quite tough to bring an 18 or a 19-year-old. I mean, occasionally you get a Kobe Mainoo, but it's quite difficult to blood those younger players. But in Nice you could do that, and that would be a benefit to Nice, of course. And secondly, in the UK, because of Brexit, it's quite difficult now to contract the younger, generational talents in Europe. But Nice could do that. So we could bring, if there's a fantastic 15-year-old in France, we can sign him up to Nice and use Nice as a conduit to Manchester United later on.